General of ohanaeze and ndigbo worldwide, Emmanuel Iwanyanwu, on Thursday appealed to the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to intervene in the ongoing demolition of buildings in Lagos State, which he says affects a significant number of Igbo-owned properties in the state. Iwanyanwu made the appeal at a press conference in Abuja, where the Igbo Social Cultural Group met with stakeholders to establish an ohanaeze relief agency to support Igbo citizens in distress and other Nigerians in need of help. Iwanyanwu promised to meet with Sanwo-Olu to appeal for the suspension of the demolition exercise until all facts are cleared.
I've been watching with pens some children crying. I have seen a pathetic sight where children came back from school, their home is being demolished, they were crying, they were shedding tears. I was moved as a human being, as a father. I know what is. I come back and see my children crying because they are now, a few hours before they had a home, now they are homeless. It's a very painful thing. I'm investigating the matter. Any of our people who actually had a proper approval by the agency and whose home is being destroyed, ohanaeze will stand by them to make sure that reparation is paid to them. And I pray if Tinubu take a position on this matter, this thing will change, because as a governor of Lagos State, we didn't have any problem. So I believe that will help.
Well, ohanaeze has called on the president to weigh in on the matter, and I think he made a good point there, saying that this thing has been going on for years. I mean, we have heard from some citizens in Lagos saying that, they've been having conversations with the Lagos State government about their demolition, and now that is happening under a new administration, it is quite worrisome. But in the meantime, one of the affected victims, Henry Arinzechi, who is the chairman of King's Royal Estate in Festac, has claimed that his home was demolished by the Zonal Southwest FHA Lagos and not by the Lagos State government. Arinzechi made the claim on our nightly news program, Newsnight. He further alleged that the FHA is involved in racketeering for the purpose of allocating land to the highest bidder, and called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to weigh in on the matter.
We are homeless. Some people are now in the hospital because of the trauma. Do you know that some of us were given only 1 hour in the wee hours of the night to vacate our houses? And if you refuse, they will throw tear gas in your room, in your houses. They don't even want to know whether there are newborn babies in that house. My windscreen, the windscreen of my car got broken, and I had a black eye because I asked them, why should they be here by this time? See, I want you to also know that there are another dimension to this matter. There are land racketeering in Lagos FHA here. I don't see the reason why a contravention bill will be issued to us and we are responding. We are paying. As I am talking to you, I have receipt of payments I made. I have contravention issued to us. But the Lagos FHA here turned a deaf ear. They are breaking those houses to give it to other people that may have paid, or people they want to reallot the land to. They are claiming that those people had that allocation donkey years ago. They have never proven that.
Arinzechi has brought another dimension to Lagos demolition. We've heard from, the Commissioner of Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab. He's talked about the fact that, those people that built houses built it in contravention of the laws. And, however, in the meantime, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, on Thursday faulted state governments carrying out demolition of buildings. Reacting through a now viral post on X, Obi said the demolition exercise is heaping more hardship on hapless citizens who are already battling with multi-dimensional poverty. The former Anambra State governor added that now is not the time to embark on a demolition spree, given the prevailing economic hardship across the country. His tweet reads in part, "Even if there were some violations, as the governments are claiming, This critical time is not auspicious for such an exercise, knowing the hardship in the land and the consequences it will have on the poor who are struggling to make ends meet with their little resources. The poor in our midst who are putting their meager resources are going through very severe financial stress that should not be multiplied further. In some cases, the properties being demolished are the lifetime savings and retirement abodes of the aged and incapacitated. My appeal, therefore, is for the respective governments involved in this act to consider the hardship in the country and try to put a human face to their action. While we should enforce sensible regulations, all actions of the government must show compassion. I do agree with Peter Obi on this score. The fact that, there is poverty in the land, I believe that, the government should show some compassion. Dr. Abati, I would like for you to weigh in on that gentleman who appeared on our nightly news program yesterday, where he accused the FHA of some sort of racketeering.
Well, before now, there was another gentleman whose story was reported, who said that 4 people died. His wife was in hospital. About 3 of his neighbors were already down with a stroke because their houses were demolished. I think this same FHA, housing estate. One thing that the gentleman whose story you reported today has brought is to clarify that it's not the Lagos State government demolishing houses in certain parts of Lagos State. That is the Federal Housing Authority, and that there was an existing contravention bill for which they have been paying. Then those houses were demolished in the dead of the night, with families asked to move within 1 hour, otherwise the houses will be demolished. Now, which then takes us to the point made by Mr. Peter Obi that these things should be done with a human face.
Yes.
At a time of serious hardship in the country, people cannot even feed themselves. The few who have managed to erect a building, you then go there and just pull it down. And what kind of blood flows in the veins of the man operating that caterpillar, for example? I mean, are these human beings? Okay, because you work for government and you can use government authority, you just go and practically kill other human beings. All those people who have died as a result of their houses being demolished, all those people who have ended up with a heart attack or stroke or are in hospital, I mean, that's putting additional burden on people at a time of great hardship. And that, I think, is the point that Mr. Obi is making, that there should be a human face. Government should be considerate. Even if you are going to demolish, at least make sure that it's an extreme situation that cannot be helped, and perhaps look at the timing. And it was referring generally to all state governments, including the federal government. Now, the point made by Chief Emmanuel Nwanyawu is also more or less the same thing. And he is saying that he will approach Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State to ensure, that people's houses are just not pulled down indiscriminately. But he made the point, again, like Mr. Peter Obi, that pulling down people's houses should not be the priority at this time of hardship and austerity and difficulty. And that in any case, if people disobey the law, he understands. And he doesn't believe that many of the affected persons disobey the law, but that he expects people to respect the laws, which is another major point that he has made there. So if you combine the two statements, in enforcing the law, you must also, have a human face, particularly in circumstances like this. He went as far as saying, ohanaeze ndigbo is going to create a trust fund for Igbos in distress and others too, who may require help. But if you look at the 3 speakers, they point again to a certain suspicion among many people, and that we have seen in the comments.
Yes.
Namely, although this has not been proven, that people of a particular ethnic stock are the ones being targeted in these demolitions. Now, that then makes it also a very sensitive matter, and government must look into it and make sure that there is proper education, there is proper investigation, and there is truly, a human face to all of this. You can feel for them. The gentleman that was on the program the other day, he said he lost a house of 300 million. Where is he going to start from? This gentleman also has brought a similar Jeremiah, a story of woe and mystery about their plight. So these are the different dimensions to it. But the bottom line is that, well, laws exist to be obeyed. Citizens must obey laws. And even when you want to enforce the laws, at least have some human feeling and respect the rights of the individuals involved.
Absolutely. Now, Irene, it was Mr. Henry was talking about the fact that it is now the FHA. I mean, we've known that the FHA was involved, but he apparently has said that he was in communication with the FHA for about 2 years, and they've been paying some contravention bill and they've been negotiating, they've been in dialogue, and he doesn't understand the reason why one evening they came in and demolished his home. It's a lot of issues here that we're dealing with, Rufai.
So I think, Mr. Henry, and I feel very sad for those their homes are demolished, I think Mr. Henry should make public those correspondence with the FHA and the money they've been
he actually
paying.
did say that he had the documents right there on Newsnight.
If those buildings had violated laws, maybe they were built on canals or something.
They were built on roads, he claims, yes.
I think it's the corruption in government we should look at.
Yes, at this point.
So how do those, in the case of the buildings built on canal, how did they even get there in the first place? How did they get there in the first place? Who were those that collected the monies? I think the government too should be able to investigate. Because in all of this, the government too is also complicit. You cannot say your officials had been going around in circles for corruption and you can't bring them to book. Because buildings just spring up. People will have gotten some clearance from some government authorities because buildings like this can spring up on places that they ought not to be. So I think the government should also investigate its own part in all of this.
Yes.
And the sad reality is also when you now extrapolate to make the argument the government is making, yes, it's very sad to demolish homes, but do you know the dire consequence of not now demolishing the homes when you have drainage and flooding that can even kill more people?
So this Arinze's issue,
Yeah.
he says it is not the Lagos state government.
I know.
This is not the
So,
issue
anyway,
of the water drainage and all
now.
of that.
I'm talking in general terms now. Because I remember in Anambra State many years ago when Peter Obi was governor, there was a wall that was impeding the road, and I think he demolished it, I remember. So there are also building code that will be respected, but when you look at it critically, with the corruption that went on in the first place, when you know these buildings are violating, roads or where were laid down, and no government authorities spoke up in the first place.